All right, good evening. The time is now 6 o'clock p.m. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Ms. Berry, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Stephanie Dalton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Holly Berry.
Here.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Terry Holmes.
Here.
Commissioner Hayes Wilkinson.
Okay. Thank you. For today's invocation, please join me in a moment of silence to reverently collect our thoughts, pray, and ready ourselves for this meeting and the duties to which we have been called. Thank you. Now, Mr. Granum, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now for my mayor's report, welcome everyone. Happy Pride Month to all of our LGBTQIA+ neighbors, friends, and family. We see you and we love you just as you are. The Red Bank Pool is open for the summer, Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. Save the dates, June the 12th from 5:30 to 8:30, we have our next Food Truck Friday event. June the 25th from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Community Center, we have our Active Older Adults Art Gala. And June the 27th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. we have our Food Truck Saturday event. The first two have been canceled due to inclement weather, so hopefully the third try is the charm. The Spritzeria is officially open. They have been overwhelmed with support from Red Bank, neighbors, and the greater Chattanooga area. Currently, they're open Wednesday through Saturday from 4 to 10 p.m. and Sunday for brunch from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Just a heads up, a reminder that the voter registration deadline for the Thursday, August the 6th, county and judge general election, as well as the primary for the November 3rd election, is July 7th. So just make sure that you are registered or to vote, or that your registration is current by July 7th. And that's it for me. Next, we have a report from Vice Mayor Berry.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, the Red Bank Community Fridge is always open and always in need of donations, both perishable and non-perishable. It's located behind the Red Bank United Methodist Church at the rear entrance facing Reading Road, nearest to the tennis courts. Fresh produce, dairy products, frozen prepared meals, and toiletries are in high demand. For food safety, no open or expired items, raw meat, or home-cooked meals can be accepted. And the next Red Bank Community Food Pantry is this Thursday, June 4th, from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at Red Bank United Methodist.
Thank you. Next, we have a report from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Yeah, thank you for being here, and those on the computer watching. Spritzeria, as Mayor mentioned, is in the heart of our city. I appreciate Andrew and Julie's contribution to bring Red Bank a special restaurant where you can meet for conversation, food, and drink. Be vigilant when driving to look twice for motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians on our shared roads. As operator of a two-wheel transport, a bike and motorcycle, be watching for others for your safety. Lights, reflectors, horn, whatever helps make you visible to drivers. And as a reminder, we give a cyclist 3 feet to share the road. And for older drivers, give yourself plenty of time to drive to your destination. Recognize the best time of day for you to drive and proceed with caution. Next Listen and Learn will be Monday, June 15th at Mr. Burrito from 6 to 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we have a report from Commissioner Holmes.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming, and thank you to those online for watching. I don't have much today, just and hope you're enjoying summer. And please remember to check the website for information and Facebook as well as Instagram.
Thank you. And finally, we have a report from Commissioner Wilkinson.
Thanks for being out here. Nothing for me tonight. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Next, we have the city manager's report, Mr. Granum.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Commission. Paving and striping work on Dayton Boulevard from the intersection of Browntown and Wickley and continuing north to Gad is scheduled to begin on 9 June, next Tuesday. The call for nonprofit micro grant application remains open until the 26th of June. Please see our Facebook page for details. Now that we've approved candidates for the special August election for the Red Bank Judge, we will offer our regular candidate orientation presentations as candidates are approved on the elections website. The budget process has kept us all very busy these past 2 months, and tonight's second reading is a welcome milestone in the annual cycle of city operations. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Branham. And now we have our consent agenda, which contains the May 19, 2026 meeting minutes, adoption of a revised GPS policy, adoption of the capital improvement plan for FY27 to FY31, authorization to participate in the THSO Community Traffic Safety Grant Program, and the authorization of a capital outlay note in an amount not to exceed $540,000. Are there any items that the board wants to move to the regular agenda for further discussion?
I'd like to pull resolution 26-1910 about the capital improvement program.
Okay, I see. Push that down. All right, do I have a motion to approve as amended?
I'll move.
So a motion from Vice Mayor Barry, do I have a second? I'll second. Second from Commissioner Holmes, any discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there are no comments, we'll call the vote, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to unfinished business, ordinance number 26-1306, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, amending the zoning ordinance and maps of this city to rezone adjoining properties located at 1106 Ashmore Avenue from R1 residential to RZ10 lot line residential, subject to certain approvals, second and final reading. Do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Daring Harvey. Is there any discussion? We did have discussion and public hearing in our last meeting. There no discussion. Are there any comments from the residents present? There are no comments. Ms. Terry, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Barry,
Yes.
what? Nope, I'm sorry. Looking right at you. Mayor Dolphin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
All right, motion carries on second and final reading. Ordinance number 26-1307, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, amending ordinance 23-1235 by removing a certain permitted use condition with respect to the properties located at 169 Linda Circle, tax map 126C, group C, parcel 040.05, 201 Lowwater, tax map 126F, group B, parcel 003, unaddressed parcel on Linda Drive, tax map 126C, group C, parcel 040.01, 167 Linda Circle, tax map 126C, group C, parcel 040.06, 194 Strawberry Lane, tax map 126F, group B, parcel 004, 171 Linda Circle, tax map 126C, group C, parcel 040.04, unaddressed parcel on Signal Mountain Road, tax map 126F, group B, parcel 002, and 173 Linda Circle, tax map 126C, group C, parcel 040.02, second and final reading. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I have a motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I have a second? I'll second. A second from Commissioner Holmes. Any further discussion? We did have a public hearing and our first vote at our last meeting. No discussion. Any comments from the residents present? please give your name and address for the record.
Fred Ferguson, 3426 Hartford Drive. I know it would help me a lot if you could dumb down some of this stuff, because I know y'all are in the business, you're employees, but could you just tell, and could or would you just tell me what is the certain permitted use condition that has been removed? I don't know.
Yes, so we discussed this at our last meeting, the public hearing, the applicant was present. This is to remove a condition that the homes be detached, correct?
There is presently, and if this passes tonight, there will no longer be a condition on the change of the zoning to require that only single-family residential structures be allowed.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Any further comments from residents present
Question
on this item?
about this yet?
If it's on this item, yes, step forward and give your name and address.
I'm sorry, James Smith, 109 West Daytona. You said it's going to remove that restriction. Is that citywide? It will remove the restriction?
Just on those specified lots.
Okay.
That she so laboriously read out. It's
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Any further comments? Okay. There are no more comments. Ms. Carey, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Dalton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
All right, motion carries on second and final reading. Ordinance number 26-1308, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30, 2027, second and final reading. Mr. Branham, are you going to be presenting on this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Summary? Okay, thank you.
We have all seen all these slides before, but I'll run through them for the benefit of some of the folks who are joining us this evening for the first time. And Tracy will roll us through the slides because this is not a PowerPoint, it's a PDF. So we'll look at our budget dates. We'll find out where we can find out all the budget materials. We'll go over some highlights of the FY27 budget, remind ourselves of our mission, vision, and commission goals. We'll take a look at the process that got us to this point, and then we'll end on a quick overview, organizational overview. So we began 2 months ago, just under 2 months ago. We have conducted 4 budget workshops. Every department director came into this room and presented in great detail all of the things that they're doing to provide services to the city. We had an open discussion on the 5th of May, which was very consequential. We had a budget town hall, first ever for the city of Red Bank in the community center on the 12th of May. And we had first reading of the budget at our last commission meeting. And here we are tonight on the 2nd of June for the second and final reading. Where can you find out more? We have a wealth. I'm going to say it's a best practice for a city our size to put all this information over 140 pages. Really, any question you might want to ask about what are we doing is there. There's a memo from me which highlights all of the key features of the budget to include changes. All 6 department directors speak directly about the services and resources needed to provide those services. There's the budget spreadsheet, 22 pages. There's the guide to the budget spreadsheet, which is sort of the code breaker. The spreadsheet itself is just numbers, and it doesn't really tell the story, but the guide helps you understand it across actually all 6 budgets, not just the general fund budget. We have some special exhibits that provide more detail, what everybody in the city's making. That's the jobs by grade, the FY27 capital improvement plan, and other supporting documents. And lastly, I really want to highlight the Q&A. That's 37 pages that really peels the onion back to the core. Why do we have 26 sworn officers? What's happening with the fire? How do we calculate our COLA? What are the personnel changes in great detail? All of that is there for anybody who wants to know how the city is going about providing the essential services that the residents and businesses rely on 24/7, 365. Some highlights of the proposed budget, and I have 3 slides here, which we'll tick through. It does ask for a 16-cent property tax increase, and we are very mindful of the magnitude of that ask at staff. And I'll get into a little bit later what we've done to manage that as best as we can. That would set the tax rate at $1.29 for FY27. It addresses all 5 commission goals, and I'll remind ourselves why some of these things are in the budget. They're commission goals. We remain competitive as an employer of choice with a 2.25% COLA. Since we have set the COLA, other local jurisdictions have announced their COLA. The Hamilton County School District has a 2.25% COLA. City of Chattanooga has a 3% COLA. So we're right in there with other major public employers in this market. Personnel adjustments, there's a number of personnel adjustments. We are actually dropping our overall staffing by 1 down to 84, trying to contain our costs. We are redeploying 1 FTE into the Public Works Street Division to adequately resource them against their streets and parks responsibilities. We reclassified 4 specific employees to reflect the significantly different duties they were in fact doing: the Public Relations Manager, the IT Director, Parks and Capital Projects Director, and the Municipal Planner. Those are 4 specific employees and their classifications in a market adjustment. And we also made classification-wide market adjustments. I'm sorry, the first 4 were reclassification. Then the last bullet speaks to market adjustments. That's where these classifications, the market shifted for everybody in that classification. So we made market adjustments in targeted areas: police, fire, laborer, and court clerk. Those classifications, everybody in those classifications received a market adjustment. This budget sustains the city's 100% match of the state's portion of property tax relief. We all recognize that property taxes don't impact us all uniformly. And so as a city, we have done something very unique. I believe we're the only city in Hamilton County that offers property tax relief paid for by the city. Currently, it affects approximately 138 residents in the tax relief program, and that number varies every year depending on who applies and qualifies. 138 is what we had last year, and we don't anticipate much change. That is just qualified taxpayers over 65, that's approximately 116, and 100% disabled veterans, that's approximately 22. This program is widely viewed as a very effective means to help qualified Red Bank residents stay in their home who would otherwise struggle to make property tax payments and could be at risk of losing their home. To our knowledge, Red Bank is the only municipality in Hamilton County to offer this property tax relief. Another key point of this budget is we're sunsetting the Carter Caravan paratransit service at the end of calendar year 2026, at the end of December, unless other additional revenue is introduced. And that could come from the county, unlikely, and it could come from Carter receiving another grant, unlikely. So at this point, we are on a glide slope to sunset that service at the end of the calendar year. As reflected earlier this evening, it creates the first ever capital improvement plan, which will come up for vote here shortly, with a 5-year planning event horizon from FY27 through FY31. The CIP roadmap will shape the Red Bank of tomorrow. And generally, it sustains a level of service delivery excellence across all municipal services delivered across all 6 departments: police, fire, court, administration and finance, public works, and community development. And I just referenced my budget memo, which can be found on the city's website. We are mission focused. And for the 5th year in a row, the commission has reviewed and established our mission. The city of Red Bank is a safe and thriving community with an engaging, transparent government that builds on our rich history, provides excellent and efficient services, and welcomes all. And we have a vision with an eye for tomorrow. Red Bank strives for a vibrant, growing, and inclusive community by pursuing excellence, enhancing safety, celebrating our neighborhood character, and stewarding our natural landscapes. This next slide is our 5 goals, which are specific to this year, but embody themes that are not new this year. And I won't read them all. They're out there on the website.
And they, execution against those goals are embedded in particular in the Public Works and Community Development Department budgets. The FY27 budget adoption process. I mentioned this in the dates, but it's worth reminding ourselves that we are participating in a process that's largely established by Tennessee statutes and the comptroller. It began with a memo from the comptroller and saying to all the cities, 345 cities in Tennessee, get going. And we established the dates for our budget workshop. Our city charter requires a budget estimate by the 15th of May, and we actually introduced that on the 20th of April. The budget includes the property tax rate. We had a town hall. We are now at the second reading. And upon adoption, it becomes the adopted budget and takes effect 1 July 2026, continues through 30 June 2027. We refer to that as FY27. Upon passage, the CFO, Chris Pickle, right here on to my left, formally submits this in the format of the resolution, the ordinance, to the comptroller, and it has to be done within 15 days. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. Right, do I have a motion to approve? From Vice Mayor Berry, do I have a second?
I'll second. If you like it, you can take it.
Second from Commissioner Holmes. Any discussion by board members? Sure.
So I've heard neighbors and gotten a couple emails. So I had a couple points. So one of my questions, or not a question, but thoughts is the real opposition to taxes, the increase of cost to run in the city, or the loss of life as we are used to? So I'm kind of nervous. For some of us, our homes are our security blanket, an inheritance to our children, equity we can borrow against. When we feel these things, it feels like threatening, it hurts. So I hear people say no apartments, no growth. Does that mean you don't want certain neighbors? I hear no bike lanes, no bike boulevard. Does that equal I want to speed down the road? No art. Does it mean you don't like art? I've heard the word bedroom community or words like that. Does that mean you just want to sleep here? But then I also hear the opposite, or I see it on Facebook. I want restaurants. So we want restaurants. We want safety. We want lower taxes. But it seems that we can't have it both ways. So like with the restaurants, I was thinking restaurants won't come here if there's nothing to come here for. And then none of us deserve the bare minimum. We're also surrounded by the 4th largest city in Tennessee and almost border one of the wealthiest communities in our areas that we sit in now. I hear in the voices about the pride of the past, but when it comes to the city government, are we proud of working with just enough, proud of paying low wages, proud of excluding people and ideas, proud of buildings and equipment falling apart? It seems we all think, including me sometimes, we're experts on things based on one article or one post or one speech from someone yelling how bad the government is. Have any of us shadowed any profession outside of what we do and understand their day-to-day? And as a teacher, I realize that because I've been teaching for so long, I don't realize that people don't work with kids all day. So it made me open my eyes to other professions. When it comes to wages and what someone deserves, what research and market analysis has the average citizen done, including myself? I am a teacher and I have heard my whole life I don't get paid enough, but no one can tell me how much I should get paid. Based on the life of our city and facilities and other projects that we talk about, are we willing to give up the pool? You know, that's an expense, maybe years down the road, but it will be an expense. Parks. I was just outside saying I didn't realize we had White Oak until a few years ago, and I lived here almost 20 years. Public Works, the Public Works building, it needs renovation or needs to be rebuilt. The land conversion agreement. I worked at the old Red Bank Middle School for many, many years, and it's been sitting there since my daughter was born 13 years ago. And that's something we need to do in order to get the grants to work on parks and other things as well. And we need the employees also to run the departments. I've heard we're going too fast, but should it take 70 more years from 1955? Should it take 10 years? Should it take 20 years? Do we want to do what is comfortable now for us and let them deal with it later as we're doing now? I was thinking I would probably move if taxes were raised just to keep up versus investing right now. Now I will say Red Bank is looking pretty on point. So I hear in the community that they're doing things, they're making things move, they're moving and shaking. But we may have to go fast to slow back down. So we want to build up our reputation for getting things done before we can press the brakes. Programs will work with us when we show we can put in the work first. And then I'm almost done. Can we eliminate anything and still be a place all people can live and thrive as a true city? So police and fire may be most expensive, but can we eliminate those? It seems large $1 million departments will have to be eliminated to keep taxes low. Not 50,000 here or 250,000 there to cut the budget down. And how much would the county, if they would even do it, or the city charge us for fire and police services? I don't even think they would entertain it. And then finally, change is extremely difficult, but doing nothing or halting what we're doing is hard and will only get harder. As I mentioned last meeting, many of us were sold the American dream without the tools, the income, or the knowledge to live it day to day or for the rest of our lives. The system is way bigger than we are, and we have to control what we can see. Families walking and riding up and down the road, what we can hear, laughter and joy at community events, and what we can taste and smell, exciting and new restaurants, clean air and water. And feel the pride when people brag on how they love to live here or want to live here. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would like to second everything you just said. That was really beautiful. I think a really comprehensive look at how we have to think holistically about government and our role and what our community wants or doesn't want and what we have to do to get there. Do we have comments?
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I have asked, and I ask again, how can our city sustain not only continuous tax increases, but since 2021, when I was elected, Vice Mayor Berry and Commissioner Cook, aligning the belt tightening that we even experienced last year. I had been asked on numerous occasions, where does our tax money go? Capital, that's big projects and purchases. Personnel, which has grown to 84 employees, and operations, which is day-to-day and the office work. Last time I presented 2 jobs by grades, and those are sections of employment and the salary of said job. Grades 2 and 5 with total benefit package. Jobs by grades are another word for job levels with paying positions. This prompted my curiosity to inquire about the highest grades, 13 and 12. My approach is to inform what these personnel expenses are that part of the taxes go to. So it's threefold: consistent and steady increasing of salaries, the information of total package benefits for those grades and each of the 84 employees, and then supporting fire and police through competition, although that competition is going to be a constant. And contentment on the job is more than pay. Grade 11 had been hired in 2021 as the position of city manager with a salary of $110,000. Currently, that grade has become grade 13 with a salary of $135,574.40. That is a $25,574.40 increase in 5 years. At the same time, there were 4 director heads at salary at grade 10 at $80,446. I have this on a makeshift board. I didn't have time to go out. That is a $21,246. 20-cent increase for each department head. So it went from 4 to 5. Furthermore, the employer of choice has provided an incredible rise to the budget by adding a yearly COLA and total benefits package. That includes longevity in sequence based on the years of service, starting year 1. 100% health insurance for all of the 84 employees, Christmas bonus, which is not a lot, but it's still $108 and some cents for all, and retirement, and that depends on the employment, is 16.14%. One of the grade 12 directors' longevity is $4,066.82 due to more years of service. Retirement is the same for all, $16,409.60. Health insurance is $15,662.92, and the Christmas bonus, as I mentioned earlier, is $108.22. That's not a lot, but it is a big investment of 84 employees. Though employees do not pocket all of that, it is the money that we taxpayers pay as part of the budget. This tax increase is not only for now, but next year it's anticipated 16 cents as well. Lastly, the median income for a resident in Red Bank is $63,983, according to census. 41% of Red Bank residents earn less than $50,000. 30% between $50,000 and $100,000. 23% between $100,000 and $200,000. And 7% over $200,000. Though the range is vast, there are many residents in the first income, which is under $50,000. Also realize that some qualify for the tax release program. The burden is placed solely on our residents to support 84 employees plus all the other projects, which are very needed. There's a diametric disconnect in income status between Red Bank residents and the employees. I understand there is a market adjustment that we have added. Though the aforementioned topics are to inform about these grades by jobs and jobs by grades, and it's all on the website. Lastly, I do not support the $10,000 for library cards in the community development. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're
Just a note, just one thing, there were many things that you just said, Commissioner, so sorry. I know you said this last time too, and just for informational purposes, correct me if I'm wrong, Director Perry, but we pay 100% of health insurance for single individuals.
Correct.
It's 80-20 if you have dependents added onto the plan. Yes, correct. Thank you. Just to clarify that it's not 100% for every single family member and the employee. We also have implemented, since I was elected, every year we have implemented a COLA for our employees that has been below the Social Security COLA every year. So if you're on Social Security, you get a guaranteed COLA if there's inflation in that year, which there has been every year for the past 5.5 years. One year it was 8%. This year it was 2.8. And so that COLA is happening, and that's happening for our Social Security recipients in January of every year. Our employees, you know, it's a midway. It's July 1 to June 30th. So they're going the whole first part of the year without any kind of COLA increase to represent what inflation we're anticipating for this year, this calendar year.
Might I add, when there's a Social Security increase with COLA, there's also an increase in Medicare. So it's really not a full intentional raise.
And we just did a budget amendment for $103,000 for additional costs for health insurance. So that's also happening for us as a government for our employees. And just to comment on, you know, I think Vice Mayor has said this in the past, You know, our employees face rising costs, just like the rest of us. We get what we pay for. And in the past, we haven't paid them well, and we got what we paid for. We also had firefighters, full-time firefighters making $11 an hour when I got elected in 2020. So we've had a lot. That's just like one example. We've had a lot to come back from and claw our way back from. And like Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey talked about the capital improvement projects, as we've talked about ad nauseum for months, which, you know, we're voting on tonight. For the first time, we've never had a capital improvement plan. We've never been planning for the future in our city. We've never looked ahead 5 years and said, what vehicles are we gonna need to replace? What equipment do we need to replace? What road repaving projects do we need to do? Sidewalks, parks, any other kinds of projects. Our facility, as Commissioner Holmes talked about, and we've talked about ad nauseum, our public works facility has to be replaced. It was inherited from the county back in the 60s, and it's never been renovated, okay? So we have very expensive pieces of equipment that we're buying them that are sitting out exposed to all the weather elements. So that's something that we have to look ahead for. The pool is 64 years old. It is 30 years past its lifespan. We had a pool assessment done. It's going to have to be completely replaced. Millions of dollars to replace pools these days. So that's something we have to think about, right, in the future. That, as Commissioner Holmes said, that's not on our capital improvement plan for the next 5 years. But we know that it has to be a conversation because a lot of people love our pool and have loved it very well for many decades. But it's a very expensive amenity to maintain. As far as our city manager, I have to say this because he can't say this for himself, and he didn't ask me to do this. I'm doing this of my own volition because I feel like it's only right if we're sharing information. Our city manager was hired unanimously by the 5 board members at that time in October 2021. He is the lowest paid city manager in Hamilton County in a municipality that provides full services to its residents. So I don't include Lakeside, Lookout Mountain, Ridgeside. They don't have full services that they provide. In Tennessee, city managers function as the CEO of the jurisdiction, running day-to-day operations, overseeing all staff, all projects, taking on all responsibility for the city, and collaborating with very different people and personalities on the board who are all his employers. So the 5 of us are all his employer. He has to work with each one of us who have all very different personalities. That's a lot. We got lucky when Mr. Branham and his wife decided to move to Tennessee to be closer to Mrs. Branham's hometown and her family. He even took a significant pay cut to take the city manager position here in Red Bank because he believes so much in our community. Mr. Branham served in the Air Force for 24 years, worked as a civil engineer for 24 years, has his master's in public administration, served in elected office on his local school board for 4 years, and has worked as a public servant for over 20 years. I am not aware of any other Red Bank city manager who has been as overqualified for the job than Mr. Branham. This position is the culmination of his very admirable and storied career, and based on his education experience and decades of both military and public service, he is quite underpaid, even in our own county. But he's here because he wants to be here and because he cares about this community, and for that I'm grateful. And it should be noted that he and I do not agree on everything and have had disagreements about certain agenda items and things in the past. And that's okay. We're allowed to do that. We can do it respectfully, and we do. So when we're talking about pay, of our employees who are very valued, who we love dearly, who provide us all the services that we depend on every single day, who do jobs, as I said at our last meeting, that none of us would ever be paid enough to do. You couldn't pay me enough to stand on the back of a garbage truck in 105-degree weather in heavy canvas uniforms for 6+ hours of the day. You could not pay me enough to do that job. We are very fortunate that we have people who want to be here because of what Commissioner Fairbanks already said, because they love this community, because this is a big neighborhood. And we're very grateful for those people that stick around, that stuck around through all the times when they weren't getting paid enough. They weren't even getting paid enough to live. We had public works employees before we did a market rate increase across the board in 2023 who had 2+ jobs because they couldn't pay their bills. So we have to keep all of that in mind on top of all of the infrastructure that we have to pay for. You know, WWTA, the Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority, ups our rates every year. I don't know about you guys. I pay a combined water and sewer bill that's $300 every 2 months, and most of that is sewer. And that is because Hamilton County let all the sewer infrastructure crumble to the point where the EPA stepped in and put a consent decree on them and said, you have to repair so much of the sewer infrastructure every year. So guess what? They have to up their rates every year to pay for those repairs because it was not maintained along the way. And that's what we're doing today. We're having to come back from a lot of that underinvestment in our infrastructure here, in our roads, in our facilities, in our wages, you know, with our employees, with equipment. You know, they had our firefighters, when I got elected, had a fire truck from 1979 still in operation. They didn't even make parts for it anymore. We had to replace that. But it shouldn't have stuck around that long. But it's just, these things were not being paid for. And sadly, as Commissioner Holmes, you know, talked about, you know, we are left with these things. We're having to make these very hard decisions right now. It's not fun. Nobody wants to raise taxes, but it has to be done to invest in our community. If we care about our community, we have to do what we have to do. And we are spacing this out because that was the feedback that we got, was please do this incrementally. We understand inflation happens every year, so on and so forth. Please don't let it get to the point where you have to do this big tax increase again like you did in 2023. Okay, that's what this is what we're doing. And we're doing this by having these plans, this capital improvement plan, so we know how we need to budget for the next 5 years for those kinds of things. By having a comprehensive plan for the first time ever in our city. All these things that help us also be very competitive for grants, which we were not competitive for before. We applied for a Tennessee Highway Safety Office grant that we just voted on tonight. That's almost $100,000. That's going to offset costs for us in the city because it's 100% non-matching. We have employees that are new employees in the past 3 to 4 years who've gotten us millions of dollars in grants already. The return on investment is incredible. And that's not everything. I couldn't possibly name everything. I got 2 emails. I responded to them both. One email, somebody was asking about operational efficiencies and how have we done things like that. And when I was thinking through some things, like I just mentioned, the software that we now use for public works, the iWork software, where now you have an online portal where you can go and submit work orders and you can put in reservation requests and permit requests, report a suspected code violation, request a permit. Did I say that one already? But on the back end, they get to use this to distribute work orders to each of the departments. Before, Mr. Tate walked into the Public Works building that's decades old, had a piece of paper with Post-it notes on it. That was how he got the list of work orders for the day, okay? So that's just one little way that we improved operations, not only more efficiently so that things didn't get lost, because certainly Post-it notes fell somewhere, or probably in the cracks of that building. But sorry, lost my train of thought. But we can collect data now, where we were not able to collect data on the number of work orders coming in every year. Do we want things to be data driven? Yes. That helps us determine, do we need more employees? Do we need more resources? Do we need to, step up our game with our level of service delivery? Now we can look at data that tells us and informs us on those things. This is a city. It's a city, and we are just so happen to be, as Commissioner Holmes stated, surrounded by the fourth largest city in Tennessee. We are an urban city. We are not a rural city. This is not unincorporated Hamilton County. We don't want to be unincorporated for the reasons she stated. I don't. I'm speaking for myself. I don't want to be unincorporated. I don't want to wait however long for a sheriff's deputy to show up. I don't want to pay for private trash service that's going to cost me more every month than it does for the whole year here in Red Bank. I don't want to be a part of Chattanooga. I like that we have our little sanctuary here. And I think that a lot of people do, and that's why they live here and have loved living here. That's all I have to say for now. Does anybody else have any comments, concerns up here before we move to citizen comments? Right here.
Well, Commissioner Holmes and Mayor, you have both stated most every point I would state so eloquently. I have little to add, just to say that, our tax rate in the city of Red Bank has been artificially low for decades relative to the services that are provided. Despite that, in past years, our city employees have managed to scrape together most of the services that Chattanooga offers. And with this proposed tax increase, the city of Chattanooga still has 30% higher property taxes. And we are providing the same level of service, or in some cases better, for, again, a significant discount. And in the past, the even larger discount, it used to be 50% less. A lot of that difference was made up on the backs of our employees, as the mayor said. Our firefighters making $11 an hour, less money than they could make working at Hardee's, less money than they could working at Lazy Boy. To risk their lives for us, it's shameful. And I'm proud that now, here in the city of Red Bank, we are above the $15 an hour minimum wage, even for our labor ones, and that our firefighter ones and our labor ones can feed their families facing the same rising food costs, the same inflation that we're all facing without having to have second and third jobs anymore. I'm proud of that fact, and keeping that as a year after year after year endeavor. Inflation keeps happening. We track it as close as we can. We want to keep making sure that our employees can survive and thrive as they keep our city running. And I'm proud of that fact, and I'm happy as a taxpayer myself. I'm happy to pay for that knowledge that our employees are able to survive. I wouldn't be able to really sleep at night with a tax discount that meant second and third jobs for our laborers out there digging ditches for us. That's untenable for me. I just, also in addition, additional note, none of us up here are city employees. We make between $200 and $300 a month before taxes for the privilege of getting to be up here helping make these decisions. We don't get any city benefits. So all of these wonderful things that we provide for our employees, I honestly wish I had them, but I don't. So just to clarify, none of us are city employees up here. And I'll just conclude by I misquoted myself, or I misquoted one of my favorite quotes when you asked me the other day, Mayor. And I'll just conclude with, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. And for my part, I want to hand it back to my little son and all of our children better than I found it. And I cuss.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner, did you have any comments?
Nothing that hasn't already been said. I'd like to just thank you guys for the very thoughtful messaging. I totally agree. This budget has my support, and I see it as an investment for my two boys who are going to grow up here and live here. And I want to see them grow up in the best town that they can. This is a city, and like you said, we're not unincorporated. We're not Chattanooga. But, if you live on Gad Road or Delashment, your neighbors will be paying on the opposite side of the street 30% more, and they may have to wait 3 weeks before their trash gets picked up. Their bulk trash gets picked up. So please, don't miss the forest for the trees and keep it all in perspective. So thank you. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, at this time, we'll take comments from the residents present. Please step forward and give your name, address for the record. Mr. Graham, or do you want to read your guidelines?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer. If time expires, please respect your direction and conclude any comments. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner or to city staff or to the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during citizen comment. Citizens are now invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
Hello, I'm Constance Kaufman. I am a resident at 216 Martin Road. I'm standing here tonight because our community of around 12,000 residents is facing real compounding economic pressures. While the federal minimum wage has remained frozen at $7.25 an hour since 2009, our local costs have skyrocketed. In Red Bank, our median household income sits around $76,000. I've heard lower, I've heard a little bit higher, but it does trail behind Chattanooga, while we maintain a 12% poverty rate. For the average working family here, the margin for error is razor thin. My monthly mortgage payment jumped over $250 per month after dealing with a staggering 53% increase from previous adjustments. My house is 100 years old, by the way. Property owners simply cannot continue to serve as the default funding mechanism for every single budget cycle. Mayor Dalton, her core campaign pillar was building safer, more walkable streets. However, studies show that traffic just through our neighborhoods consistently flows at 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. While I appreciate the work done at the main intersections, should the financial responsibility rest only on, I heard 4,400 Red Bank homeowners? A balanced conversation about shared community contribution is both fair and necessary. If infrastructure and transportation systems are truly the priority of the city, you owe it to the homeowners to fully explore creative alternative revenue sources before asking us to pay more and more every year. As an example, and I'm not an expert on this, but a special purpose local option sales tax has been just across the border adopted that saved them a lot of money and is roughly $30 million over the next 6 years. And I know it's a little different in Tennessee, but have you even thought of bringing back the traffic cameras to catch speeders or that run the red lights? Any program that shifts some of the burden off property owners and spreads it among everyone who uses our roads and buys goods here would be helpful. I'm running out of time, but I respectfully urge this commission to please table the proposed increase, provide the public with clear long-term financial projections, and prove to your constituents that every single reasonable revenue alternative has been thoroughly exhausted. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Kaufman. any further comments?
Yeah, my name is Richard Lamb. I live at 207 Harding Road. I spoke earlier, and I'll say basically the same thing. I don't understand how the city of Red Bank raises taxes as much as they do compared to Hamilton County and the city of Chattanooga, which this coming year, they've got a 0 tax increase. My family has lived on Harding Road for over 100 years. My mother died, I inherited the land, and I built a house in 2021. At that time, if I had known what the future of Red Bank's government and their spending and their liberal outlook on building parks and greenways and such like this would cause the taxes to increase like they were or have, I would have sold the property and moved into the county. It's ridiculous. I'm on a fixed income. I can't go to my financial advisor and say, hey, give me 8 more % this year because I want to buy a new car. I can't do that. But you all have the prerogative to pass the tax rate at anything you want to. I know you have fixed income, fixed costs, but some of this stuff that you all are now looking at is just ridiculous, like turning Dayton Boulevard into a greenway, building the bicycle park up at northern end of Red Bank for kids to ride their bicycles in, and trying to get us into a 15-minute city such as is popular in Europe and some of the other countries. It's beyond me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the opportunity to speak. I just want to say thank you first. I want to say thank you for stewarding us through, and to the city employees. Thank you for stewarding us through a year of belt tightening and responsible spending while we continue to develop our city. I know this was not easy, and it came as a surprise to everyone up here. With a lot of solutions that were thoroughly considered, and I think expertly executed. So we are continuing the momentum that we have as a community, and a lot of that can be read in the 140 plus pages of transparently posted memos and details on the Red Bank city website. I think that a lot of what the budget represents is an investment in public safety, emergency services upgrades, public works and infrastructure maintenance, and space for the community to be a community together. I think it would be irresponsible for us to not protect the assets that we already have, as mentioned, with a lot of capital assets and equipment that would otherwise be more quickly degraded due to weather and exposure. I think another thing to point out is that through thorough consideration and debate, that items such as the safe streets are all matching, or not fully matching, but grant that was going to be a part of the cornerstone part of any sort of immediate street redesigns was pulled from this CIP and our data capital improvements plan, which shows, I think, prudence, given that that would have been over $1 million of real tax dollars required by the city to face a tripled amount of matched dollars that could present an opportunity for a lot of programs. But the responsibility from what you all decided is not going to burden us with that $1 million plus dollars. That is much appreciated. I think from a business perspective, as a person who's a business owner and a local business leader, that these investments can create the conditions for businesses to come land in Red Bank, such as the Spritzeria. There are several parcels that are being looked at for significant development, both in residential and in commercial circumstances, and the WWTA is preventing some of those with the basin issues. I have 38 seconds, so I'll run through this quick. There is a program in development for speed cameras in school zones that may be able to offer some funding for safe streets, just to mention. I think that Paying our employees is really important. I think that compared to private corporations, chief executives have a much higher bar than are currently set for someone that is arguably performing at an even greater capacity. And finally, and most importantly, I do want to say tax relief match from the city is really important. Tax freezes, circuit breaker tax programs, and tax deferral programs, such as the one in Davidson County, are also things that can be explored should you be able to voice your thoughts to the appropriate person in the city, and they would be responsible reactions to targeted relief for people that really, really need it, while allowing those of us that can shoulder the tax burden the opportunity to do so. So I will speak afterwards to people that might be interested in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Do we have any further comments?
Hi, my name is Nam. I'm at 3526 Lamar Avenue. I don't think any of us are arguing that essential services are not good, but it's the fact that the tax increase is to fund 65% of new capital projects. We keep comparing ourselves to Chattanooga, but we literally are only a population of 12,000, where Chattanooga is 100,000. We account for 6% of Chattanooga. We have 6.5 square miles, which is only 4.5% of Chattanooga. So if our public, works can't pick up trash within 3 weeks, I'd be really shocked. We're only 6 square miles. So I wanted to talk about the vulnerable population that's impacted by this. I saw that there was data being shown of the fact that we helped 100 people who are on Social Security, but the real census shows that 15.6% of our population is 65 and older. That accounts for 1,935 people. So the people that you're helping with the tax relief program is literally a drop in the bucket. Those people are making an average of $23,000 on their fixed income. 9.3% of our population have disability and under 25 or under 65. My mother is one of them. Their fixed income is $19,000. My mom is $16,000. I asked her if she can cut her Netflix and eat less at Chipotle. It turns out she has no streaming services. She cooks at home, so I did ask her if she can just eat less, and it turns out that's not possible. So I'm going to keep paying her property tax then. 12% of our population is in poverty. That accounts for 1,488 people. An individual is making $15,000. A family of 2 is making $21,000. A family of 3 is making $26,000. So a low wage for an employee here is $130,000, which is what our city manager is making. I would like to retire my social work hat and dust off my political science degree and start applying for city jobs. If $130,000, 6-figure salary is considered as low wage in this economy, that's kind of insane. The amount of red herrings that we got shown in terms of the need to increase the tax for a pool renovation that's not happening within the budget, like the fiscal year that we're talking about. The fact that we're bringing up the salary of firefighters who are doing an amazing job, but we're not bringing up the salary of someone making 6 figures is insane to me. So I just don't understand how we can keep saying that the system is bigger than we are when we make up the system. You guys make up the system. You can create the system exactly how you want it to, but you're deciding to create a system in a way where the people that you know that are not on the fixed income, the people you know do not make up the 38.9% that are vulnerable population on a fixed income that can't keep affording the tax increase. I literally had a resident who was 65 and older reach out to me to have me sit down with them so that I can walk them through their budget to figure out how they can account for the increase in their property tax for next year. I have been walking through their budget on what things they need to consider paying, not paying, when they should pay, and then how they can apply for the tax relief program.
Thank you, Ms. Bain. Do we have any further comments?
Buffy Wilson, 3523 Lamar. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for every person up here that cares enough about our city, that's coming here and trying to do stuff. I am a long-term resident of the city. And when I told my family and my friends that I was coming again to talk, they worried. For one thing, I guess politics are very contentious nowadays, so everyone wants to argue all the time, and that's not really my goal. They also worried that maybe we wouldn't get our trash service picked up if I came and said something, so hopefully that won't happen. But I just, again, want to talk about, recently we've had issues with the county, sending us the errors, and that, we should have caught those. We should have caught those. And yes, I do think that the firemen need to be making more than $11 an hour. But some of us also work for the county government. I'm not getting a raise. We've actually had to let people go. So while I understand that the people who do these jobs are very much appreciated, some of us that have to pay their salaries do have to have two jobs to do that. The proposed increase just seems like a very substantial burden that's not really needed right now. I feel like maybe we could just do a little different accounting. I understand that everybody worked really hard on it, and kudos. I know that we're all real proud of all our people in Red Bank, but I do wonder if this means, if we're a 2.5 city, does that mean every year everybody's gonna have to go up 2.5% in there with a raise, so that they always are gonna make as much as everybody else in the city of Chattanooga? But again, thank you very much for caring about our city. I hope that your vote reflects that you care about all the citizens and not just the ones that vote your way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Any further resident comments?
Hi, my name is Charlotte Simon of 116 Full Avenue. And yes, I am one of those on a fixed income, and this tax increase is going to be a big bite for me. Therefore, I oppose it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simon. Do you have any further comments from the residents present?
So much to say, so little time to say it in. Fred Ferguson, 3426 Hartford Drive. A lot of passion on both sides. I do echo the last one. To appreciate all y'all serving. It's tough. Times are tough all around. But you know, can't spend money you don't have. You can keep taking money out of everybody's pocket and try to do it. I just don't think you're going to be able to do everything you want to do. I mean, obviously, City of Chattanooga business tax, East Ridge business tax. Red Bank doesn't have that. Who knows? Maybe we'll have that one day. I don't know. But it's the same 6.5 square miles that I lived in for 63 years. It's about the same population. In fact, the population, I think, was more back in around 2000 or so. I think we got up 14 or 15,000. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know the answer, but I just feel like there's a big segment of the population that is not being listened to. Feel like the mind has been made up about the tax increases. I don't know if that's you all, or Mr. Crenham's boss. I don't know if I don't know how that all works behind closed doors when you discuss everything, but, yeah, I don't know what the answer is, but good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Any further comments?
Comment. My name's James Smith, 109 West Daytona. I do appreciate what y'all do, and the tax increase isn't gonna mean anything to me, frankly. It's not gonna be a lift on my radar. I do wish we could have a plan where we could stagger out what we wanted to do in the town, because one day it is gonna be a problem. You can't just keep raising it. I mean, we know that there's other larger, more successful communities that had to cut back. And they've done that because they had the COVID money that flooded in, and it kind of bloated their budgets. They increased payroll, they increased expenditures, and in one day, and today is the day for some of them. And might be the next term, it's 4 more years out. Y'all might be doing the exact same thing, cutting back. This will happen. I mean, you'll reach a plateau unless some big stores come in here to be able to pick up your tax revenue. But I don't think that's really much, really is it? I mean, it's not really gonna help that much. It falls, we are a bedroom community. That's where people come to live. It's not where we come to work. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Mr. Smith. Any further comments from the residents present? There are no further comments. Is there any further discussion on the board? Comments? Okay. Ms. Perry, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Dalton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barry.
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
No.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries on second and final reading. Moving on to new business, ordinance number 26-1309, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee to amend the FY 2026 operating budget beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026 in order to appropriate unbudgeted expenditures through grant funding for the general fund in the amount of $516,364, for the solid waste fund in the amount of $110,000, and state street aid in the amount of $200,000. First reading. Do I have a motion to approve? Okay. The motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? There are no comments. Ms. Perry, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Dalton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barry.
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes. Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries on first reading. Ordinance number 26-1310, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee to amend the FY 2026 operating budget beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026 in order to appropriate unbudgeted expenditures for the general fund in the amount of $270,300, state street aid in the amount of $75,000, and solid waste in the amount of $27,600. First reading. Do I have a motion to approve? A motion from Commissioner Holmes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. Any further discussion? Any resident comments? If there are no comments, Ms. Perry, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Dalton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barry.
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries on first reading. Resolution number 26-1910, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee to adopt the capital improvement program, CIP, for the period FY 27 through FY 31. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion to amend to include the Memorial Sidewalk project that was previously struck. I still believe the sidewalk project, which has already been allocated an 80% grant, is crucial in the near term for achieving our mission goal of a transportation network that is safe for all users. Furthermore, it would have no effect on this year's budget or tax rate, or likely next year's either. It would likely not have any effect until after the next property assessment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any discussion?
I should have saved that for discussion. Sorry.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, just to echo, Vice Mayor's quick anecdote. I was putting up my cross face and saw my campaign sign, from 4 years back, and it had a pedestrian on it, and felt I owed it to the folks who voted for me then, that I would give it a shot, and give it a shot. We're gonna.
I was driving down Memorial Drive earlier today, and as I passed our one crosswalk on Memorial Drive, there was 3 joggers crossing each other in different directions as I went by that. And there was a farm stand set up on Memorial Drive selling produce off the side of the road with no sidewalk or curb or anything to park. So if that's the level of activity happening on a street like that before we have sidewalks, I struggle to imagine how much more activity we would see. And I feel like I owe it to the hundreds of residents of our largest apartment complex there that currently have no pedestrian access to literally anything, to give them a way that would otherwise be walkable to the boulevard, if but for one sidewalk there. That was, again, we've already gotten approved for 80% grant funding for that project.
Any further discussion?
Question, I want to keep it the way it is.
You just would vote opposed to this motion, this amended motion. Any further, did you have any other comments? Just a question. Any comments from the residents present? Okay, and if there are no more comments, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Motion fails. Do I have a motion to approve as published? Motion from Commissioner Holmes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Harvey. Any discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there are no more comments, we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have now formally adopted our first capital improvement. Time now is for citizen comments from Red Bank citizens on items not on the agenda. Mr. Rick.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the state of Oklahoma will operate the timer. Time expires. Please respect your directions and conclude any comments. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner or the city staff or to the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during citizen comment. Citizens are now invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
The opportunity to speak. I just wanted to generally mention, again, that there may be some room for discussion regarding some additional tax use, additional tax-free circuit breaker deferral potential programs, just in an exploratory capacity for those that may benefit especially those fixed incomes, and those that are 65 plus. Some of it is currently allowable by the state of Tennessee on the municipal levels, we allow county level, so that would really impact us. And I think that some of it is not, but maybe focus could be an option. The other thing I wanted to mention was that I'm happy that the DMV is back open according to reporting that I'm seeing. So, if anybody needed an opportunity to use their services, including update their IDs so that they may be able to do some voter registration initiatives, that'd be great. And finally, I recently discovered that the National Endowment for the Arts, not sure how this would specifically qualify with Red Bank, given our city structure, but the Mayor's Institute of City Design every couple of months features a urban, or rather just general city planning and mayor partnership program that 8 mayors around the country are selected for. They're on their 82nd session right now, and it's a conference that gets together sponsored by the ADA, where you're able to discuss the most critical infrastructure and city planning concerns. And I think that maybe the bank is in a great position to see if our own mayor has the opportunity to apply. Just wanted to put that on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Any further comments on items not on the agenda? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn? I have a motion from Commissioner Holmes. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Wilkinson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.